This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Welcome to this week's episode of This is a Place podcast. My name is Nate, and with me is a guy who refuses to ice skate on a duck pond because he's afraid the ice might quack. Brandon.
Yeah, I would be the one to fall through the quacks. So, I'll stick to man-made. Thank you.
Skating on a pond, though, does sound like fun. I have some friends that do pond hockey up north in Logan area, but every time they invited me, I just couldn't make it. I really wanted to do it, but
it does sound fun.
Yeah, just like on Mighty Ducks, right? Where he goes out in the ice in the limo, and then the mom gets mad, all that good stuff.
I feel like in all the movies, skating on a pond leads to some hijinks or some quacks, some cracks.
Be a little nerve-wracking. Ice fishing too. I'd like to try ice fishing. I haven't tried that either. Well, we're kind of short on time today, so should we dive right into the topic at hand?
Let's do it.
Do you want to introduce the guest of the hour?
The guest of the hour needs no introductions because we've already introduced him 50 times before this. Matt Baxter, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that introduction. That was nice, Brandon. I appreciate that. Glad to be here. Big fan. Listen every week, so I'm happy to be here.
You are, as we've discovered, well, you and I have discovered, you are our quality assurance for the podcast.
Yeah, I don't take it lightly. I hope it never comes across of like, oh, you should have done this differently. I hope it never comes across that way, but it's more of like, man, a few months ago, it was just during your Christmas, and you had two intros going at the same time, and I was listening at like 6:15 in the morning, and I was like, dude, you've got two intros going at the same time. So things like that where I try to catch early Wednesday morning, and then Brandon hurries and fixes them. But that it honestly doesn't happen too much. Brandon does not make mistakes. He's really good.
Usually.
So in a way, you're a producer of the podcast, Matt.
Sure.
He gets paid the same amount we do, so half the glory. Half the glory, though.
Yeah. I do, every time I have a friend that's like, don't you do a podcast? I always correct them and tell them like, no, I do not. But my friends do, and sometimes I'm on there because I do share a lot of the stuff you guys do. So,
but you basically are part of the podcast.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm very proud of you, and I will always brag about you guys. So,
have we got Matt a sticker yet? Does Matt have a sticker?
I gave him
3 of them.
Stickers.
Oh wow! Did you put on your bumper of your car?
Yeah, I'm going to put on my bumper. I'll send you a picture. The episode last week, I was like, man, I should put one on my bumper. So I asked Brandon for 2. I was looking recently at your guys' Apple podcast reviews, and there was a 5-star just talking about how you're the favorite guest.
And I think the person was named not Matt's mom. Kind of weird.
Thanks, Mom. But yeah, if you haven't rated this podcast, you should do it.
And we'll give you a sticker if you do.
But only if it's a 5-star.
Only if it's... Yeah, right. Well, Matt, you have requested to be on this episode. We said that the last one you were more an interviewed guest, and this one you are a guest because you are very fond of the topic for the day. Is that correct?
That is correct. When you told me you're doing a podcast 2 years ago and you were brainstorming all these places to do, I said, I want to be on this one. So I've been waiting for this for a long time.
So what are we
happy
talking
to be
about?
on. We are going to be talking about the Olympic Oval.
Hey, it's our final February episode, our final Olympic episode. So we had to make a field trip to check out the Olympic Oval.
which makes sense because Olympics are now officially over, which means I'll probably stop getting texts from people like Matt and you who think I look like the curling guy in the USA team.
You really do look like him.
So I think we're supposed to be going with the youth to the Oval this week to go ice skating. And I should put on a long sleeve shirt because guy has tattoos, right, on his arms. So that cuts me out right there. But if I put a long sleeve shirt on and one of my USA shirts and hats on, shave a little bit and keep the mustache, how many people think you're going to ask for my autograph if I go to the Oval? Because that's where he'd be, right? He would be at the
You
Oval,
really
right?
should do that. Yeah, he would be at the Oval. You really should do that.
And see
You
what
have to
happens.
shave your mustache like he has it.
Well, I know. I just wish because I had the longer beard going for a month or two, and I just shaved like 2 weeks ago. So now, if I would have known, I would have kept a thicker mustache. But we'll do with what we got and see what happens. But I think that'd be funny. See if anybody asks if I don't even know the guy's name. But
And the
apparently,
listeners out here that have never seen Nate's face, if you look at that Olympian with the curler, that's exactly what Nate looks like. So sometimes when I listen to podcasts, I always put a face to the voice. And if you can't figure that out for Nate, now you have one. It's that curler.
you've got it. Well, if they're gonna do a movie about these guys, they should definitely ask me to play him.
But when we went to the Oval, nobody thought you were him, did they?
No, well, because he was still in
Oh.
China. It
Oh,
makes
right,
sense,
right.
right? But he could be home now. He could be home doing some ice skating at the Oval in between curling practice. I don't know.
I think you're right. So yeah, next time you go, when you go with the youth, they might mistake you. Just go over. When we were there, they did have some curling lessons going on.
I think it was a league.
A league? Oh,
Yeah, they have curling leagues there. So they might have been doing a little bit of both, but I know there was a group of guys there that were a little too serious to be taking lessons.
some of those people look like they were, or at least should be taking lessons.
And there was a few people there, yeah. So I think there's a league. I mean, I looked at the flyers at the end, and there's curling leagues. So, but I think they also do curling lessons. And you're the one that told me, Brandon, that they're like booked out like usually months in advance, or was that somebody else?
I told you that someone, a mutual friend of ours, had tried to look into curling and found out it was, yeah, months out before you could even get in.
But we should do a follow-up episode on the Oval where we go try curling.
I'm down for that.
So we might have found our new calling in life. And maybe we could take over those guys' spots on the men's Olympic curling team.
You could
Is
just
it
be an
4 guys?
alternate for that guy.
Is there 4 guys on a team? Or is it 3? It's 3, right?
Again, I've not paid attention to these Olympics very well.
But if it's only 3 guys, then we're there, guys. We got Matt, Brandon, and Nate.
Let's do it.
I want to say it's 3 because you have 1 guy throwing and 2 guys that sweep. What do I know? We'll figure it out.
I want to be a thrower.
I think you take turns, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
But I don't know. I like I said, I watched a few matches and I just sat there going, I don't get what's going on. I do, but I don't. But that's not the subject of the day. We're talking about ice skating at the Oval. The Oval in general, which was, when did they complete it? I think they started building it in 99, but they had the site picked out years in advance.
I'm looking for the date.
Well, according to Wikipedia, which is 100% correct information every time, it says on
99.
October 5th, 1992, Utah Sports Authority chose the Oker Park Fitness Center in Kearns as the site of the 2002 Olympic Oval. But I don't believe they got the bid for the games till 95. So they already knew prior to getting the bid where they were going to put the Oval. And then I think they started construction in 99. And did you hear about the roof collapsing?
No, I did not.
I did not hear about this.
It says on April 19th, 2000, the construction, I wasn't home or in Utah. Some of the bolts holding the roof's cables sheared, causing part of the roof to collapse. That sounded exciting, but they got it done in time for the 2002 Winter Olympics so that we could have the fastest ice on Earth.
Let's talk about that. I hadn't heard about this, or maybe I hadn't internalized it, but as we were skating around, one of you mentioned that this was the fastest ice on Earth for some reason.
It was I.
But tell us about it, Matt. Why is
Y-
Utah the fastest ice on Earth and the greatest snow on Earth?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to talk about the snow, but it's the fastest ice on Earth because it was named that because there's so many world records set there. In fact, I think during the Olympic span, there were the most records set at one place at the Oval, and the reason for that is basically the altitude and the when the altitude's high and the air is a little bit lighter, you can skate faster. So yeah, there's been let's see, I'm trying to find this. There's been world records broken and then Olympic records as well that were broken. And so yeah, that's why they call it the fastest ice on Earth, which is pretty cool.
I was going pretty fast when we were skating. I beat Matt.
Yeah, you were going fast.
And it sounds like if it's not updated, I don't know if they broke any world record. Well, I think they did. Was there one? Anyways, it says the Oval still maintains 6 records. But I think
That's
some
pretty
dude,
good.
I think the guy from Netherlands or something broke a record during this Olympics. So maybe that's 5 now. But still, that's still pretty good for 20-year time when
Yeah.
technology and quote unquote supplements are getting better. So
Yeah. Well, I will go back a little bit. The reason why I wanted to be on this episode is because I played at the Oval before it was the Olympic Oval. And before it's the structure that we see now, it was just a giant tent with a single ice rink in it. And so I remember going there as a kid. I remember when they started digging. So like at some point you had to go underground. Like the way it is now is when you enter the front door, you have to go downstairs and cross under the ice and then go upstairs to get onto the ice level. And so they started doing that. And I remember as a kid going down there to go up to the ice rink, even though it was just one ice rink. So it's pretty interesting. I found some pictures of the Oval from when I was a kid, and it looks very different. And it's hard to, I mean, you can't really tell. But I'm gonna send you guys this picture. There's a few I'm gonna send right now. And yeah, so it just used to be one ice sheet, and then the locker rooms were outside in like portables, and it was freezing cold. I would cry after hockey because I was so cold. And I remember one of the kids' moms would come into the locker room and warm my feet for me because I was just crying. It was so awful.
isn't that what you did on last week as well? Or was that
But
Brandon that was
yeah,
crying? I can't remember.
no, Brandon was rubbing my feet for me.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I thought we decided we weren't going to share that story, but
Were you in this picture wearing your dad's helmet?
that is my cousin's helmet. My cousin played semi-pro hockey, so that was one of his helmets. I also had a yellow helmet from him, so I had a green and a yellow helmet. And then the one I just sent is when the ice rink was outdoors,
Oh, no
and
way.
I didn't play there. That's when my brother played. I was too young for that.
No way.
But
That would have been awesome.
yeah, so outdoor rink. So yeah, it looked way different. It was a freezing cold rink, like I said, and there really wasn't much in there. There was a few stands where people could sit, but it was very small, very compact. And so that was the Olympic Oval to me. and then they built the huge thing, which I honestly don't even remember if we skated on it before the Olympics. I think at some point they basically shut it down because there was no ice in the center of it for hockey. It was just for speed skating. So I don't think we played on it until after the Olympics happened, but I played on that ice before the Olympics, well before, and then they tore that bubble down. So yeah, those are my memories
That's cool.
of being at the Oval.
I had no idea. And I didn't know you play left-handed
Yep.
or left stick, whatever you want to call it, and you're right-handed.
Yeah,
Or-
like a lot of hockey players are that way where they're left-handed, they play
Yeah.
golf right-handed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I started playing left-handed because when I was a kid playing street hockey, I went down to Play It Again Sports to buy a stick, and I think that's all they had. So I thought that's just the way you play hockey, and so that's how I learned. So I can't shoot with the right stick at all. I suck at it. So
I believe like the official Hockey Canada logo has a left-handed player because so many players are left-handed, where nowadays it's really weird that it's switched and a lot of players are right-handed. It's weird, just a
Interesting.
weird random thing.
yeah,
But like,
isn't it kind of like skateboarding? Like there's no idea why you go regular foot or goofy foot. It has nothing to do if you're right-handed or left-handed. It's just whatever works for you.
yeah, I'm convinced I was just given a left-handed stick, and
I
that's
think
how
that's
I
my
learned.
problem. Yep, that's how I learned.
Yeah,
So
Yeah,
Orange
Josh
stick,
is
that's what I had.
right-handed, but he plays left-handed as well.
Huh. More comfortable for me. Anyways, well, before or after Olympics, I played a lot of hockey at the Oval. We started a team called the Dogs, named after me, Nate Dogg, and it was obviously my favorite colors, which are blue and orange because of the Denver Broncos. But it was kind of cool to go to the Oval and see that the Dogs are still up and running. It kind of grew to bigger than what our team was, which makes sense because my friend who I started the team with was the hockey coordinator at the Oval. And so I think he just kept calling every team the Dogs. So if you go out to the Oval today, you see the Dogs, you can thank Nate Dogg for that. That's me. That's me.
it's a crazy side story where we were getting together to record, and Nate walked in with a Dogs hoodie, and I was like, "Hey, I played on that hockey team." Like when I got home from my mission, I played at the Oval for one season, and Nate's like, "Oh yeah, cool. I started that team." So it was just a little mind blowing. But yeah, we got there, and all the Dogs were there. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I still remember the guy who helped us kind of design and do the screen print originally was he shared the mascot duties of Grisby at hockey games, at the Grizzly games, and then he was also the lion for the Real Salt Lake team for like the first year or so. But anyways, I still remember going to his house and trying to plagiarize some things to make our own Dogs uniforms. So yeah, it's kind of fun to go and see that. We saw a bunch of little kids in the Dogs uniforms, and like Matt mentioned, I think there's still some adult Dogs teams. I don't know why everybody's called the Dogs, but it seems like the Oval's kind of adopted that as their kind of unofficial mascot for the hockey.
I don't have as cool stories because I'm not a hockey player like you guys. So my one story, I think it was my 12th or 13th birthday party, or my birthday. My mom had this surprise party planned, and she was asking me what I wanted to do, which is dangerous in my opinion, because what if I don't want to do the thing that has been planned? So some of the options I was given was the Oval to go ice skating. Another one was to go to classic skating. For some reason, she wanted to put skating in my mind, and I was really close to picking classic skating. Good thing I didn't, because my surprise party happened to be at the Oval. So we pulled up, and my dad had this big white van, and all the kids were jam-packed back there and burst out and surprised me, and then we went and skated. And that's my story. My surprise birthday party was at the Oval.
And I wasn't invited. Thanks, Brandon.
You were not invited.
Probably would have been awkward to have a. How old? What age were you?
I think I was 12. I'm pretty sure it was my 12th birthday party.
So I would have been like, what, 24, 25? Might have been a little awkward for me to.
You should have come.
Should have, if I was invited.
I think we could have been friends back then.
Pretty sure.
I didn't know Matt yet either, so sorry, Matt, you weren't invited. You can come to my next surprise party.
All right. Well, you throw your own surprise party and we'll be there.
Right. This sounds good to me.
Ice skating. Well,
So what else? What else about the Oval?
I think what's fun about the Oval is just that it's different than other ice skating venues you can go to in the Valley, because most of them are just a rink, right? Where you
Right.
go and skate around in a circle like you would at classic skating. So it depends on the time that you go. I mean, it's been so long since I've been ice skating that people were making comments about my retro hockey skates, Matt included. So that's how long it had been. But my point of that is that sometimes the oval, the speed skating track, is what you skate on, and sometimes you go there and you skate on an ice rink. But it is a little different to be able to skate on an oval compared to a hockey rink. What would you think about that, Matt? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I prefer skating on the long track. It's a lot of fun, and it's just different than. I mean, I skate in circles every week anyway, so it's fun to change it up. But yeah, it's interesting. Sometimes they'll have two ice rinks in the middle. Sometimes they'll have when we went, there was one rink for hockey with the glass and the boards, and then the other was for short track speed skating, and then they did curling. So it's kind of cool to see they change it up quite a bit. I'm pretty sure I've seen indoor soccer in there as well in the summer,
Yeah.
where they'd have one rink.
Yes,
be
I've
for
played in those
hockey.
leagues. They've had over the years since I used to play a lot of hockey. So I've done a league for soccer, obviously hockey, and then at one point, I don't know how long it's been, they were doing arena football in one of
Oh,
the.
wow.
So it's like it wasn't like the professional arena football. It was like recreational that you could sign up and play arena football. So
That seems really small.
yeah, it's about the same size as arena football is,
guess
because arena
that's
football is only
true.
like what, 50 yards or something like that. So
Yeah,
They must be just that I don't know if they redo the ice or what the reasoning behind that is.
I just think they might do the oval, if I remember, like during the winter when it's kind of popular to go there, because it's pretty expensive to keep that oval up and running. And there's not a whole lot of, and then the only other times that they would redo the ice for the oval during like the summer months or the non-winter months is when there was like an event coming in. The rest of the time they would just do the hockey rinks because that's what was going to be used, and it's just not worth it for them to keep the oval ice.
It's still a big time destination for speed skating.
Yeah, a lot of I mean, I think one of the girls who won Olympic gold, I think her dad lives here in Utah and she trains here in Utah. And something that was interesting when we were walking up to the oval, because I haven't been out there for a long time, as far as going to the building, I've driven by many times, and I haven't been to the Kearns Rec Center right in front a few times, but I didn't notice that they built an extension of the oval in front of it, which sounds like that's where they moved all the kind of speed skating training facility is over there. Basically the weight room is over there now, and then they have a bunch of conference rooms, which I don't know what they do with those. But I know a lot of people train at the oval.
yeah. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure it is the official speed skating training for Team USA
How
for the
cool is
Olympics.
that?
So that's really cool. It's right there. I did notice because they built that extension. There's like a bridge, so it's a building and then it's joined by a bridge. Because that bridge now comes into the oval, they used to have in the opening ceremonies, there was the part with the deer, with like the pioneers and stuff, and the deer came out on the ice and the buffalo and all that. There used to be a deer hanging from the roof that they used in the opening ceremonies, but because that bridge now joins up top, they have taken that deer down. But we still saw it. in storage, kind of, on top of a little shed thing in the Olympic Oval. But yeah, I was excited to see that deer and then noticed the new building and noticed that deer was gone.
Oh dear.
Aside from the other two, the famous people that have come through that are speed skaters and all those type of people, there's two other famous people that I know have been there. One of them being Conan O'Brien, which Matt shared with us. Conan goes to learn in speed skate. And one of my personal favorites, also Buster from Postcards from Buster.
As soon as you said that, I forgot Buster Baxter does an episode at the
He
Olympic
sure does.
Oval.
They do a whole
Yeah.
Olympic episode, actually.
Yeah,
They go to
that
Olympic
was
Park,
so
they go to the
cool.
Oval. Like, I can't believe I was sitting there just not even a mile away watching Buster on TV, and he was actually there at the Oval.
It's too bad. Like Buster lived with his mom for Arthur the whole time, and you thought he had a pretty good life. And then he goes with his dad, and he travels the world. Like, why was he even with his mom anytime? Like, he should have been. Yeah, he was traveling the world with his dad, seeing the Olympic Oval. So
He's have to make
Yeah.
up holidays, Buster Baxter Day instead.
that's right. That's right. Buster Baxter Day.
Actually, I think
Man.
it's just Baxter Day. So
I'll
Matt,
take it. We did have a dog. We did name Buster, so he was Buster Baxter.
should have been a bunny, but
Are you talking about the cartoon?
yeah,
He went to the Olympic Oval
he sure did.
in like one of the episodes?
So they had this whole. All right, so we're talking about Arthur, just the
Right.
greatest kid show ever. I still watch it. I make Collins watch it all the time. She doesn't even pay attention. I'm just sitting there watching it by myself.
Same.
They had this, I guess, spin-off series where it was Buster and he'd go out and visit locations throughout the world. I think it was always in the US, or at least most of the time. And you never actually saw him. It was just like him with a camera and his voice. So obviously he wasn't really there, but it was still fun to pretend. And there was another episode where he visited a family in Utah, and it was definitely a Mormon family because they were like saying prayers, and he started like trying to eat. And they're like, "Hold on, Buster, we got to say a prayer."
I love that you said obviously he wasn't there. Is it obvious because he's a cartoon?
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was there.
Maybe we're all cartoons and we just don't know it.
What I don't think they actually had the voice actor there, I guess is what I should say. Because I don't know.
Because
maybe
that costs
maybe they
money.
would. Yeah, that costs
No.
money.
That costs money. They
They
sent
just had
some
someone go film and they
intern.
slapped his voice on.
Yeah, they had some intern go film that wanted to get into filming school.
It had to be real awkward for the people, like talking to, "Hello, Buster." Actually, it's this like
Yeah.
50-year-old man. To finish out, we have to share the most important thing about our trip to the Oval was we had an extra special guest with us. Matt's cool, he's fun to have, but we had his super cool daughter, Macy, come with us. So, of course, we had to have her on the episode to share about her first experience ice skating. Now, since your dad can't hear, we can talk about how silly he is. He won't know.
Okay.
So, Macy, it was your first time ice skating. What did you think?
It was pretty scary, but also pretty fun.
Yeah? Something you think you'd want to do again?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part?
Maybe when Dad was dragging me on the ice.
Is that when you fell and he didn't know that you fell down and he was just dragging you?
Yeah.
That was your favorite part?
Yeah.
Well, he should have told us. We could have dragged you the whole night.
That would probably hurt.
Probably.
It probably would, huh?
Yeah.
So out of the three, your dad, myself, and Brandon, who's the best ice skater? Remember, your dad can't hear, so you can.
Brandon.
Brandon was the best
All
ice
right.
skater?
No, actually, I mean Dad. Not
What?
wrong.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Well, it was fun to have you come with us, Macy. You'll have to come do some other podcast events with us.
Yeah,
Well, thanks for coming on.
you're welcome.
Now you can go back to playing with your friends.
Well, thanks, Matt, for coming ice skating with us and for bringing Macy.
Well, I'm kind of glad that you did bring your daughter because we felt bad that we were like super late.
Yeah.
So at least you weren't skating around by yourself like some creepy old man hanging out at the oval by himself.
It was fun. She was so excited for you guys to come. So you guys really made her night. I mean, she was excited to go skating, but all night she was asking, "Where are they?" So
Like
she was
this,
way
she was
just
excited
like
when you showed
Nate,
up.
he's always late.
Well, we probably should. Yeah, Nate's always late. But Brandon, so Matt and I were holding her hand while she was skating, and then Brandon was in front of us taking a video, and he sent us the clip of the video, and it pauses right on my face. And I sent a message to both Brandon and Matt saying it looks like one of those videos, like if you've seen this man, please call X, number. And Matt was kind enough to make a video clip of that. So maybe we should share that on this post.
Oh, we definitely will.
Yeah,
Kinda
it was
funny.
a great idea, and I knew how to execute. I knew
Yeah, so
exactly
I-
what you're talking about. So it was a funny idea.
Yeah, so I sent it to my wife without any context. She's like, calls me right away. What is this? I'm like, okay, look at the number. It's a total fake number. So you should have known right away that it was fake. She thought maybe there was really people out looking for me for something. But
So when we finally get into the video world, Matt's going to be our guy since he knows all about that.
editing and stuff like that.
I do have one last question. How big of trouble were you and Macy in when you got home?
We were not in any trouble because my wife was asleep.
Yes,
Oh.
that's the best.
So we
Oh.
were so late that everybody was asleep.
So they have no idea what time you came home.
No.
So she
Very
better not
good.
listen to this episode to find out you got home at 10 o'clock.
It was about 9:40. No, it was actually, it was 9:45. Close enough to 10. That's pretty late for her on a school night.
Whoops.
It's pretty late for you on any night, so
Yeah, I'm usually in bed at like 9. Last night it was like 9:20. I was in bed.
oh my gosh.
Wow. Good for you.
All right, well, Matt,
That'd be
you
nice.
better go get ready for bed because it's 3 o'clock right now.
Go eat your dinner so you can go to bed on time.
Could probably go get
yeah,
the early bird special.
I'm not even joking. This is the time I ate last night, yesterday at 3 o'clock.
Nice. So you can get up early for bingo.
Yep. Now, I
Canasta.
had hockey. I had hockey last night at 5, so ate at 3 and left. But yeah, I go to bed early and wake up early and text Brennan first thing every morning.
Thanks for coming on. You should come on again sometime.
We'll have to check our guest list first, see if we can squeeze you in.
Sounds good.
Thanks for listening to This Is a Place podcast.
See you next week.